The NBA draft continues tonight with the second round. Hello and welcome to the 233rd edition of ATL Prime Sports. I'm JJ Jurjevich, and joining me this evening is my fabulous co-host, TC Todd Corder, and our wonderful producer, Wayne Ridenauer in wonderful Memphis, Tennessee. You can follow this show at ATL Prime Sports across the board. It's Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. And please leave us a like, a review, hit that subscribe button, whatever you want to do to get notified for our latest content. Hit that notification button and you will be notified when we drop our latest videos. At JJ Get You One for my personal X, at RWY Jr. for Wayne, at Corder Todd for TC Todd Corder, and at LG for Real Though, who is your PA voice of the Rome Emperors versus the Greensboro Grasshoppers this evening. Wayne, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing pretty good, but last weekend was Father's Day, and I know that you probably had a great Father's Day, Todd, yourself as well. But I actually got to visit Jim and Nick's barbecue for the first time, and I got the ribs, the slaw, and the beans. And the ribs were fantastic. The beans were great, but I just like I like my slaw a little bit sweeter than Jim and Nick's slaw is. But I'm actually thinking about going there a few times this upcoming football season and watch a couple of Alabama games. I believe they're going to be real hyped in that place for Alabama football. How about
Jim and
yourself?
Nick's. I'm doing well. I'm
All
doing
right.
superb, actually, Wayne. Thank you for asking, but not as superb as the Oklahoma Sooners and SEC baseball in general. The 2026 national champions added on to a streak of now 7 titles in a row by SEC schools in the Men's College World Series. Oklahoma recorded 9 wins over nationally seeded teams, breaking the previous record of 8 held by Coastal Carolina in its 2016 run to the Men's College World Series and winning it all. Oklahoma's 13-2 win over North Carolina now marks their 3rd baseball national championship and first since 1994. Ironically, that same year, the World Cup was in America and the Knicks went to the NBA Finals. It's funny how sports seem to work out like that from time to time. Todd, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Hey, pretty good. Thanks for the Food Channel opening, Wayne. I love that. So that was nice. And speaking of Oklahoma, nice little story. During the College World Series, the umpires, they found the branch parents to give them the official lineup cards for their boys, Colby, who played for Georgia, and Kyle for Oklahoma on them. They're the first brothers to be starters/opponents in an MCWS game, and I thought that was awesome. And then another thing, Colby's last at-bat was in a home run for Georgia when they were eliminated by Oklahoma, and then Kyle's last at-bat was a home run when you mentioned earlier they defeated North Carolina. That's just one of the great storylines of this World Series. And, you mentioned Oklahoma. They kind of remind me of the Braves in 21.
Yeah, they got hot at the right time. They were, like you mentioned off the air, they were 11th in the SEC going into the tournament and just got hot. Pretty impressive run for the Oklahoma Sooners, as you see Kiki in my
JJ,
background there.
If I can say one thing, they
Well, if
beat
you're
the
going to
Big
say it,
12.
go ahead.
Thank you. They beat the Big 12 and the regular season champion. They beat the SEC tournament and regular season champion, and beat the ACC regular season and tournament champion. That's just an incredible run. They were definitely the best team at the end of the year.
Yeah, they're one of the sneakiest good teams. They can't be considered one of the greatest teams ever, but boy, they were sneaky good and when they needed to be. What's on tap for today's show? Kyle Pitts signs a new deal, the Braves' recent woes, and we'll talk some NBA about the Hawks draft and some NBA news with Dusty May going from the college ranks to the NBA ranks. So let's start off in the NFL. The nation's pastime, really. The Falcons reached an agreement with tight end Kyle Pitts, a 3-year, $54 million deal. That includes $36 million fully guaranteed. What do you think of this move, Todd?
It's interesting. Where's the money for Bijan? I mean, that's what I want to know. And the second thing is, JJ and Wayne, if Tua balls out, what do they do with him? Do they still let him go? Do they draft the numerous amount of young quarterbacks that are coming in the 2027 draft? To me, this is fascinating because what does this team do? I mean, they're spending. They already gave Drake London an extension. Now they give Pitts an extension. Where's the money for the franchise, Bijan Robinson, who to me is the most important player on that team right now, especially on the offensive side of the ball? And where is the money going to be for the offensive line?
Yeah, it's really interesting, Todd. Pitts is coming off a career year with 88 receptions, 928 yards, 5 touchdowns. The deal makes him the third highest paid tight end behind George Kittle and Trey McBride. This tells me the Falcons value Pitts as a pass catcher, not as a typical tight end. So I look at this as like another wide receiver type deal. I think that's how the Falcons are going to view it as well. He doesn't really block well. He doesn't run block well. He doesn't do really anything well out of a 3-point stance except for firing off the ball into maybe a post route or something. But the guy is a freak athlete. And when he gets good quarterback play, a.k.a. his first year in the NFL with Matt Ryan, he broke Mike Ditka's record for rookie receiving yards, I believe. And then you flash forward to the last couple games with Kirk Cousins, and he really had a pretty good connection with Michael Penix actually as well early in the season before Penix went down. So this deal is really going to depend if it's a good move or not, depending on quarterback play, as you mentioned, Todd. Tua Tagovailoa, it's a reset year, prove me deal. He's getting paid a lot of money by the Miami Dolphins to play against them. So we'll see if it's Michael Penix Jr. or if it's Tua Tagovailoa, which you all believe it's going to be Tua. But this is an interesting deal. You mentioned Bijan Robinson. He's going to be due a contract in a year or two. This is going to be his third year coming up already. So it's an interesting take, Todd. I don't know. I don't know what Ian Cunningham is doing here other than securing another pass catcher. So we'll see. There's a lot to unpack here, but the biggest question is, you already mentioned it. It is who is going to throw him the football. If this is a team that isn't good, there is the option of next year. You have Arch Manning, Levitt out of LSU via Arizona State, DJ Lagway, Lenora Sellers. You have a bunch and a bunch of talent going into the draft next year, or possibly going into the draft next year, not to mention Dante Moore as well. So maybe that's in the cards for the Atlanta Falcons if they're looking for 27. But this is really interesting. They no longer are having to pay the franchise tag, which was going to be like $21 million this year or something like that. So they don't have to pay that franchise tag this year. But I don't know, Todd. I'm not going to say it's a good or bad move. I'm going to say I'm indifferent on it because Kyle Pitts has had bookend seasons of good, then 1 or 2, 3 bad seasons, and then the 5th, a really good season. So we'll see what happens. Wayne, what's your thoughts, man? You're a Falcons fan. Yay or nay to the Kyle Pitts deal?
Well, I think if they're going to pay that guy that much money, they need to have him playing on both sides of the ball. And I say he would make an excellent edge rush. I mean, who better to play edge rush than a former tight end or a current tight end, right?
Wouldn't that be funny? Well, actually, we signed him to be an edge rusher. We were uncertain for James Pierce
Wayne,
Jr.
We went from the food, gentlemen. We went from the food channel with Wayne to the comedy channel. This is awesome. I mean, this is really awesome. I mean, think about it. I think the Falcons overpaid for London. I think they overpaid for Pitts. I don't see London as the one. I don't care what the stats say. I see him as a 2, as Lou was saying on the last program. And Pitts, you mean to tell me he's a top 3 tight end in the NFL? I don't see that either.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm indifferent on it. He's had 2 really good seasons and 3 mediocre seasons. And in those seasons, we were wondering where he was at times, quitting on the field. So you just question his attitude, but look, the guy can play. He's a freak athlete. He was drafted 4th overall for a reason. He's the highest drafted tight end ever. So the ceiling is there. He's still relatively young at 26 years old. He could always blossom into this huge player. But again, it comes down to where's the money for Beyond and who's going to throw him the football. And I think that's where we're all standing right now. So, guys, let's move from the NFL and the Atlanta Falcons to Major League Baseball. The Braves, they're not playing well. Their NL East lead is down to just 5.5 games entering tonight's contest against the Dads out in San Diego. They're 3-7 in their last 10. One, when will the Braves make a trade? And two, where do you see this team moving forward? Todd, I'll start this thing off, guys. Look, they're looking to avoid a sweep tonight in San Diego after losing a 4-run lead in Tuesday night's game, losing in extras thanks to Tatis's walk-off. Now, the Braves need pitching. It's well known at this point. Strider moved to the 60-day IL. So, more questions. Spencer Schwellenbach, it's a maybe at this point if he even hits 2026. There's been some uptick, some downtick. I think you'll see Schwellenbach, but I don't think it'll be till either playoff time or right around the end of the regular season. A.J. Smith-Shawver, he has started throwing from full bullpen sessions. So you expect to see A.J. Smith-Shawver back soon. But the thing about this that nobody's really talking about, Todd, is the Braves also need another bat. Sean Murphy's been hurt. They've tried some things at catcher. Drake Baldwin in and out of the lineup lately. He's back now, but he's struggling. Acuna out of the lineup. They haven't gotten the production from Hassan Kim. Mauricio Dubon's been great. Dom Smith has been great. But you could use another bat, whether it be a left fielder or you go get that shortstop that is a everyday bat. There are rumors out there that the Braves trade Ozzie Albies and another prospect for C.J. Abrams from Washington, and they get that shortstop that they've been missing since Dansby Swanson left. So there's rumors there, but I still think it's a starting arm. I also think now with the news of Robert Suarez and that forearm tightness, that might be something to keep an eye on because now you have Iglesias and Suarez who have both been on Iglesias went on the IL. Suarez hasn't done it yet, but interesting, lots to talk about, and let's talk about the elephant in the room. It's Tarek Skubal. Will they go after him? Todd, you think they should? I don't know if they should because I think they're going to have to give up way too much for a rental. They're not going to pay Skubal that money. They just typically don't do that. I just don't know. I don't know. I know they're going to make a move. I know it's going to be probably for a starting arm. I just don't think it's for Skubal. I think it's going to be for a Robbie Ray. Logan Webb was taken off the table when Buster Posey, the president of baseball operations for the San Francisco Giants, said they will not be fielding offers for Webb. So there's a lot out there. And then to answer the second question, where do you see this team moving forward? It's going to be where their pitching takes them. Is Chris Sale, Spencer Strider locked up on the IL for the foreseeable future? Who's going to take over that second role? Clay Holmes has been good, but he hasn't gotten a lot of wins and losses and results. Same with Bryce Elder, hasn't gotten a lot of wins. It's going to be interesting moving forward, but it's going to depend on what that rotation looks like in the next, 6 weeks till the trade deadline, Todd? It's going to where the Braves finish moving forward. Yep.
August 3rd is the trade deadline.
Yeah, about 6 weeks away. So a lot is going to reflect on what this pitching staff looks like going into the trade deadline after the All-Star break, Todd.
Look, you give me too many questions. Too many questions, Mark. Too many pitchers coming back from injury. This is starting to feel like last year all over again, especially in the starting lineup with Acuna. Now Harris has been in and out of the lineup. You mentioned Baldwin. This is starting to feel like last year all over again. Could they get a Skubal? They could. They would have to give up something to get him. But here's the thing. Skubal gave up 4 runs tonight. He's only been going 6 innings. So what is Detroit going to do? I mean, can the Tigers climb back in it? No, they were only 5.5 in the wild card yesterday. So there's a lot of questions to be answered. But when you have more questions and you have answers in the rotation, that spells trouble for Atlanta in a short postseason series, because I only see one certainty in that rotation if he's healthy, and that's Chris Sale. I'm sorry, I don't see the others making it. Look at Elder, he's struggling. Look at Strider, he can't stay healthy. Swellenbach, I mean, we could go on and on and on. There's too many question marks. They need a horse, and they're going to have to give up a lot to get a horse. Who that horse is, nobody knows. You mentioned about getting C.J. Abrams for Washington for all these in a draft pick. That's just a rumor. That's not going to happen. Washington's not
Correct.
giving up.
That's all it is. That's why I stated it's a rumor.
Right.
Yep, it's just a rumor.
There's not a ghost chance in hell that happens.
I don't think there's a ghost chance in hell they go after Struble. I think the Dodgers will get Terrence Struble if they want him. And that's if they want him, because like you said, he doesn't look like the pitcher he was last year. He doesn't look like a reigning Cy Young Award winner right now. He looks hurt.
He's coming off that injury.
So is he going to be worth it for a rental? I don't think so. For an organization like the Atlanta Braves, I don't think Struble's worth it. I already mentioned they will make a trade. It's going to be for a guy like Robbie Ray. It's going to be for a guy with some control on his contract. So I don't see Struble coming to Atlanta. I see another arm coming to Atlanta, and it wouldn't surprise me. It would not surprise me if Alex Anthopoulos finds his shortstop right there at the deadline. It just wouldn't surprise me, because Ozzie Albies, although he's having a pretty good year this year, he's been inconsistent the last couple years. So I would not surprise me to see a shortstop come in here at the trade deadline either. I'm just saying, there are rumors.
JJ, you mentioned the Dodgers. Their farm system's so deep, it's deeper than Atlanta's. That would allow them to go after a player like Struble, where Detroit would have more options.
Correct. And that's why I say Atlanta's out of that market. They're not going to go give up Eric Hartman, their top outfield prospect, who's really moved up and already into Double-A, and they're talking about him maybe coming up and helping out in the big times. Look, it's been done with Strider, Michael Harris. They had success right from Double-A, skipping Triple-A, coming on up. So I just don't see it. I mean, there's been trade rumors out there for Struble with Cam Caminetti, J.R. Ritchie, and Didier Fuentes. I don't think they're trading those three prospects for one pitcher. I'd see J.R. Ritchie and maybe Fuentes go, but I don't think they'll give up three prospects for Struble for a rental season. I just don't. But it is going to be determined. This Braves team will have to look back, and as Braves fans, just like in 2021, you look back and you saw the I'm forgetting his name. You got the three guys. You got Jock Peterson, but you got the guys that put the production in the lineup with Rosario. Alex Anthopoulos is going to have to find a guy or two like that. One being the pitching staff, one being a bat that's really going to have to help this team. He's going to have to go and find that right guy. And he will, because he is one of the best general managers in the ball game. He's going to put this team in position to win, as they already have so far. So I'm anxious to see what he does. I'm just not one to say he's going to go after the big-time blockbuster deal.
And, JJ, it's all about timing, too. Like you said, it's not for 6 weeks from now. A lot can change. Struble can get in the groove. Maybe you just don't know. A lot of this is going to be about timing where the Braves are in the race, timing where Detroit is in the race, timing where all these other teams are in the race, because like you said, they're only 5.5 games ahead of Philadelphia. So to me, the timing of when this is going to happen towards the deadline is going to set the tone of what actually is going to happen.
100%. And right now, the Braves are still sitting pretty. It's still one of the better teams in baseball. And again, when Ronald Acuna Jr. comes back, that team is better when he's on the field. So it's going to be interesting to see again. Yeah, it's just got to be able to get him in the lineup every day. We'll see what happens there. Let's move forward from Major League Baseball to the NBA. The Hawks drafted 2 players in the first round last night, and the Mavericks got a new coach. Let's talk some NBA. We'll keep it here in Atlanta real quick, guys. Just a couple thoughts on these guys. I'm not the biggest NBA watcher. I will keep up with it from afar. But Kingston Flemings, the guard out of Houston, taken 8th overall, and Zuby. Oh man, I'm terrible at this. Ejiofor, the forward out of St. John's, drafted at 23rd overall, are the Hawks' newest players. Zuby's coming off a great season. I like this guy. I liked him in the tournament. St. John's, he led his team in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks. He was the only player to do this in the Big East in the last 20 years. So the guy's got a lot of plus side. He wasn't a high draft pick right out of high school, and he worked his way up to where he is now. I kind of like that high energy guy. What I really like about this is he's versatile. He's the only player in Division I history to record 125 plus assists, 30 plus steals, and 75 blocks in a season. So in the NBA, where it's kind of positionless basketball now, this guy can protect the rim, which Atlanta needed. And this guy is coming into a team where, look, they made the playoffs last year. They're the only team in the NBA playoffs that beat the Knicks more than once. So they got a pretty decent core around him. They re-signed C.J. McCollum, so this guy can develop. Kingston Flemings, of course, the guard can develop behind C.J., and Zuby can develop behind Okongwu, play in the G League a little bit, and kind of develop his body. But I really like the fact that this guy is a prospect that's versatile, blocks shots, he can score, he can rebound. To me, that means a lot in the NBA now. And then Kingston Fleming, he was projected a Hawk almost from the get-go. I mean, literally, I saw one of the first NBA draft boards, mock drafts, boom, Fleming, 8 to the Hawks. Well, that's where he went. He comes in a great situation. He mentioned he's going to back up C.J. McCollum. The expectation isn't going to be there as it is for Kings point guard Darius Acuff Jr. out of Arkansas, who had a wonderful tournament as well. But yeah, the Hawks got 2 guys, 2 really talented players, and they were the only team in the playoffs that drafted in the top 10. So these guys are coming into a pretty good situation. I think I like that for the Atlanta Hawks, and that's my 2 cents on it. Todd, you want to throw in your 2 cents on Flemings and Ejiofor?
Had a chance to see Flemings in the NCAA tournament for Houston. He's a really good player. He's also a willing defender, which is not a lot of things. You see a lot in the NBA. I mean, this guy will defend you. He's very quick. He can get into the teeth of the defense. And, his jump shooting definitely needs to be improved. And I saw that during the NCAA tournament. But that's something that he'll have to improve on if he's going to be a really good pro player, because once the NBA figures out and you can't shoot, they're going to play you to drive, and that's going to affect you offensively. But I think his strength right now is he's an unselfish floor leader. He will give the ball up, and he will go to the hole. But if you can't shoot the ball and you're having difficulty doing it, they're going to expose you really quick. So we'll see. The other kid from St. John's, I mean, he was one of the better bigs in college basketball, and he was definitely a favorite of Rick Pitino. So we shall see how these players turn out. It's really hard to project how a college player is going to turn out in pro ball, especially once you get past the midway point of the first round.
Wayne, your comments, not on the Atlanta Hawks, but your Memphis Grizzlies drafted Cam Boozer.
Yeah, well, I'm actually more excited for the PA announcer at the FedEx Forum for those games, because I know he's going to get into saying Cameron Boo like that, and it's just going to be hilarious every time he does it. But yeah,
we'd have to ask Larry how he would do it.
Yeah, well, he'd probably do it the same way, but you got to do it like that every time. And I imagine every time something happens on the court or they introduce him, everybody's going to start booing, because that's, well, I'll go to some of the games and let you know what happens.
All right, guys, we'll go from the Atlanta Hawks to the other big news in the NBA besides the draft, and that's Dusty May leaving the University of Michigan for the NBA's Dallas Mavericks job. I was surprised, but kind of makes sense. More money, elite coaching job, the best league in the world. Get to coach one of the better players in the world, and Cooper Flagg, young guy. So yeah, that all makes sense. But I was surprised. 37-3, national championship last year, 27-10. Those were his 2 seasons at Michigan with the Sweet 16. And again, I mentioned the national championship. And that wasn't his first Final Four. That was his second Final Four. He went to one with Florida Atlantic. So the guy can coach. He's a hell of a coach at the college level, and I think the timing was right. As Todd mentioned earlier, timing's half of everything in contracts and sports and all that. I mean, look at Nick Saban. If Rich Rod accepts the job, Nick Saban's an afterthought in Alabama, but the timing matched up, and boom, X and Y met, and yeah, it crossed. But yeah, this is a surprising move to me. I thought he was a college coach through and through, but the guy wanted to coach at the NBA. It's probably been a dream of his. I'm obviously speculating a little bit, but yeah, you get a chance to coach a guy like Cooper Flagg. I think you're going to take that job and run with it. And in other news, rebounding back to the college side, Michigan put the interim head coaching tag on Mike Boynton Jr. in efforts to keep the recruits on campus. So that's a little side story there. But yeah, Dusty May taking the Mavs job. Todd, your thoughts on it as well?
I'm not shocked at all. His dream was always to coach in the NBA. He said it. Who's the first player he took? Morris Johnson Jr., the forward out of Michigan, who was the best player on the Wolverines this year. So I'm not shocked at all. Dallas with Cooper Flagg, Michigan. This has, and all these morons in the media that are telling you this all has to do with NIL and supposedly he did something wrong in college in terms of recruiting. It's none of that. That's all a bunch of crap. He chose the NBA because it was his dream. It had zero to do with NIL. He knows he can build a team around Cooper Flagg, and he did it with a first pick and Morris Johnson Jr. out of Michigan. This guy has won everywhere he's gone. You look at it, it's a Bill Parcells type resume. He doesn't stay very long wherever he goes, and this fits. And go to the NBA, if you don't win, you don't stay very long. He'll be right back in college basketball, and the suitors will line up to take him because he did a great job in Michigan in 2 years. I think his record was 64-13. That's as good as it gets. And we'll see him in the NBA and see how he does.
Yeah.
Correct. Wayne, your thoughts, man?
Well, the only thought I had about Dallas Mavericks in the draft and the new coach is, did you see who they drafted the first round, first pick?
Yep.
Somebody from Michigan.
So Todd mentioned it. He's drafting his own players. Yeah, he's drafting his own players. He knows the system he's about to fall into. So I think that's a smart move. You're one of the best college coaches on one of the best college basketball team last year, and you get your best player from that team to help you transition to the NBA.
The reason I think he made that choice also is so he would have somebody there who's familiar with, and not just jumping into a situation with team. Because there may be some players down there, I don't know for sure, that went to Florida Atlantic, but I don't recall any of them there.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's just, as Todd mentioned, he's won everywhere he's been. It's it was surprising to me, but not surprising overall. I just thought he was solidified as a college coach, national championship. But hey, greener pastures in the NBA for sure. Probably a little bit more money on the paycheck, and you definitely don't have to deal with recruiting. That's got to be a bonus.
Better pyrotechnics before the game too.
That too.
You went from the Food Channel to the now you're doing the critics for the acoustics, and by the way, you did the PA announcement stuff. I can't wait to see what your close is.
Well, it's not going to be as hilarious. I'll say that.
Oh,
why
man.
not?
Well,
you're on a roll. Keep doing it.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, your reaction to Jim and Nick's hasn't been as good as these reactions to these Europeans trying sweet tea and
Oh
and
yeah.
Coca-Cola and seeing the big veggies and all that stuff. So yeah, that has been on my social media timeline is the European and Australian reactions to American food.
Yeah.
It's just been lovely and refreshing. Let's get to our final thoughts. Todd, start us off, man.
I tell you what, you hear all these morons in the media, criticizing America and the World Cup and this and that and what they're doing. And it's not, they mentioned a thing about Southerners, will they be able to be hospital for these people to come in here? And guess what? These players and these fans from other countries are loving everything about the United States. The hospitality, you name it, they have had a blast. And all you've heard is positive things. So don't listen to the morons in the media because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. That's one. Two, in the National Hockey League, a huge trade. Brady Tkachuk went to Florida. And guess what? He's going to play with his brother, Matthew. But it wasn't the primary reason he was leaving, he says. It was the chance to go to a team who's going to be a Stanley Cup contender, top 9 players in this league. But I tell you what, Ottawa did get a load back for him, a bunch of draft picks, 3 first-round picks and a second-rounder for the 26-year-old captain, Brady Tkachuk, who was a great player, played for the USA, led them to the gold medal, first one for the United States since '80. And I'm telling you what, I cannot wait to the Chuck brothers to play because they'll be exciting. Florida's going to be a really good team, and Carolina won it all here, and it'll be a great challenge next off season. One thing, let's see if Ottawa takes one of those picks, packages it, and gets a veteran player. That will be interesting, along with Dylan Larkin, who's a captain of the Red Wings. We'll see what the Wings can get for him because he requested a trade, and all this should come down before the NHL draft with Dylan Larkin. That's my guess.
Wayne, what's your final thought of the evening, my friend?
Well, my final thought's a little bit more of a serious note. Just wanted to put this out there because I'm experiencing some of this with some people in my circle, let's say. And that's that Tennessee now has a suicide and crisis hotline, and it is 988. You text that, and that's for any type of mental health emergency, whether you're the person experiencing the emergency or a family member who's close by. So it's just text 988, and I don't know if Atlanta or Georgia has anything like that. But that's my final thought.
That's a great final thought. 988, guys. I think Atlanta does have it. I think it might be all over the country now, or it's
Okay.
close to it. But yeah, no, I think Tennessee was one of the last ones. 988. It's okay to not be okay, ladies and gentlemen. That is a great one. My final thought revolves around the wonderful World Cup. Todd mentioned one of them. I mentioned it. I love seeing all the fans' reactions. USA's World Cup run will continue to the knockout stage. After beating Paraguay 4-1 and Australia 2-0, the Americans have secured their spot in the round of 32 with one match versus Turkey, or whatever they call themselves now. I know it as Turkey. They have one match versus Turkey remaining. It's looking like the United States will play Bosnia and
Herzegovina.
Look, I know it as Bosnia.
Yeah. Well,
but
you weren't old enough in the 80s to hear about all the conflict over there, so.
Well, I'm Croatian. Believe me, I know all about that conflict. Okay,
all right.
We just call it Bosnia. Anyway,
Okay.
in the round of 32, that's who it's looking like they're going to play. It's pretty cool that all 3 host countries have secured their spot in the round of 32. That's America, Canada, and Mexico. And the coolest stat, save for last, Atlanta. FIFA Fan Festival at Centennial Olympic Park has drawn the most visitors of any other U.S. host city, with over 275,000 fans in attendance so far. I knew Atlanta would show up and show out for the World Cup.
The traffic showing up on 75, 85, 400, and you name it. The city looks like a parking lot right now, thanks
Well,
to
welcome
the
to
World
Atlanta.
Cup.
Hey,
Yeah.
I will welcome it for
are
the
they,
next month or so. It is absolutely cool to have Atlanta on the map like this.
Yeah. So are they running the Ferris wheel nonstop down there now?
Pretty much, it's crazy down here, man. My sister went to Centennial Olympic Park, showed me some FaceTime, lots of international
Yeah.
friends, just having, and I love it. They're all saying the same thing, as Todd and I mentioned again. They're all saying the camaraderie, the people, they're so nice. The food is so good. So stop with this media BS. Listen to the people that are here for the World Cup. Atlanta, America. We're doing it right. Hats
All
off
right.
to us for hosting the World Cup correctly. Mexico and Canada as well. This thing has been awesome to watch. Let's just hopefully Croatia can punch their ticket to the round of 32 as well, and then this red, white, and blue through and through will be happy all the way
All
through.
right.
So, guys, that wraps it up for the show for Wayne in Memphis, Larry, who's calling the game and in Rome, Georgia, as we speak. Todd, his new home in Charlotte. I'm JJ right here in Lilburn, Georgia. If you like the show, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification button so you get notified when our latest content drops. We will see you all next week. See ya. Get you one.